Very good afternoon to all of you. We're discussing international political economy. So within the theory of IP, there online students, I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So within IPE, there are three views: mercantilist, liberals, and Marxist. So liberals believe in integration of economy. Okay, they give more importance to economics. Okay, their view is totally opposite to Marxist and different from mercantilist. Okay, capitalism is an instrument of progressive change. Okay, mercantilists want economy to be used for serving the national interest. Economy should be to serve the interest of the state. Okay, so mercantilist will suggest which kind of economic policy for the state. They will suggest which kind of economic policy, that is protectionism, that is self-sufficiency. So mercantilist will stand for which kind of policy, that is self-sufficiency. Okay. Mercantilists consider economics as the issue of low politics, and issues of integrity, sovereignty as issues of high politics. Okay. Now, Marxist view on international political economy. And within Marxist, we have three perspectives. That is the perspective of traditionalist Marxist perspective. Then neo-Marxist, that is Gramscian perspective. And the third one is critical perspective. Okay. Critical perspective of whom? I have not given you the name of the scholar, I guess. The critical perspective, hai na? Right? Traditional Marxist perspective. Traditional Marxist perspective. The Marxist structuralist. Why we consider Marx as structuralist? Because he has given the structure of the society. Na? He believes in structure, so Marx is structuralist. And Marx has given more importance and emphasis on which part of the structure? Economy, basic. Okay, and consider superstructure is not that relevant. Who has emphasized more on superstructure? Gramsci, theoretician of superstructure. Okay, right. According to Marx, politics is part of superstructure. Politics is part of superstructure. And economy is the part of basic structure. And economy is the part of basic structure. This is the view of Marx. Full stop. Marxist analysis Marxist analysis of politics is actually the criticism of capitalism. Is actually the criticism of capitalism. So that is why you have written that the view of the liberals is totally opposite to Marxist. Okay. Criticism of capitalism. Full stop. The entire aim of the entire aim of the theory of Karl Marx, entire aim of the theory of Karl Marx was to suggest, entire aim of the theory of Karl Marx was to suggest the theoretical framework So what is the entire aim of the Marx theory? To suggest the theoretical framework which can support this view that, which can support the view that dash is full of contradictions. Fill in the blank. Capitalism, which is of the view that capitalism is full of contradictions. So this is exactly what Marx wants to say with this theory, that capitalism is full of contradiction and exploitative system. And exploitative system. And there is a need. So we are doing the theory of international political economy. In that, there are three perspectives. First is traditional perspective. Traditional perspective comes from the theory of Marx itself. And there is a need to move towards communism. To move towards communism, where contradiction will end. Traditional Marxist perspective comes from Marx himself, where contradiction will end and man attains. Once contradiction will over, man will attain freedom. Very good. Man will, where man attains real freedom. Yeah. Make a note for your understanding. You will not write this in your exam. So when we are saying the traditional Marxist perspective on international political economy, it is emerging or coming or deriving from the idea of Marx himself. Because Marx has not dealt with the issue of capitalism. Marx has not dealt. Acha hua aapne, you have raised your head. It means you are just not writing. You are deliberating also while writing. Marx has not dealt with the issue of capitalism in international context. Who has dealt with the issue of capitalism in international context? Lenin. And I hope you remember when we discussed socialism, there you have written this line that Lenin's view led to the emergence of the theory of international political economy, which I said we will discuss in paper 2. So this school of international political economy is the outcome of the ideas of whom? Lenin. Okay? Because Marx has not dealt with the issue of capitalism in international context. Full stop. He has confined his theory. He has confined his theory within domestic context. Within domestic context. Full stop. Though Marx does have the vision of Though Marx does have the vision of proletariat internationalism. Underline this. Vision of proletariat internationalism. What is that? Workers of the world must unite and they have nothing to lose except chains. Okay. Have the vision of proletariat internationalism. Full stop. Within note, right? It was Lenin in his book. Name the book of Lenin. Very good. Imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism. So, according to Lenin, the root cause of imperialism is capitalism. So, in international context, who has analyzed the ills of capitalism? Lenin. It was Lenin in his book, Imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism, has put the focus on the international dimension of capitalism. So the international dimension of capitalism is analyzed by Lenin. Full stop. Right. Lenin was the first person to establish. Half paragraph. Lenin was the first person to establish that the deriving force that's the deriving force behind imperialism. Driving force behind imperialism is capitalism. That is their motive to make profit, and this makes capitalism too exploitative. Its root cause is, its outcome was imperialism. Okay, na? So for Lenin, First World War was the war for colonies, but West was trying to justify it on the name of liberty. Okay, na? Deriving force behind imperialism. And therefore he said that. Imperialism is the offshoot of capitalism. Imperialism is the offshoot of capitalism, as it is the search of raw materials and market. As it is the search of raw materials and market. Full stop. He concluded that the main reason behind the First World War. So by that time, Britain and France, they were parliamentary democracy. There was a debate within India also during the freedom movement that whether we should support the efforts of the Britain or not. There was a section of the leaders of Congress who agreed to support the efforts of British, with a hope that once, if they will win the war, they will be considered towards the demand of Indians. Okay, but the British rule became more repressive after First World War, and there were revolutionaries who tried to take the advantage of the First World War. So who had the better clarity of the imperial rule? That's why the saying goes, the revolutionaries and Gaddarites tried to attain freedom. Okay, Liko? And he concluded that the main reason behind the First World War was the competition for colonies. So it was very clear it was competition for colonies, and this became more clear after the end of First World War, when under the Treaty of Sevres, they divided Ottoman Empire and new states being carved out in world. New states were carved out in the world, like Palestine, like Syria. And who took over the political control over Palestine? Britain. Who took over Syria? France. Okay, so it was very clear they never fought for liberty. These wars were for whom? For acquiring more control and for having more control over territories and to have more colonies in their control. Okay, now full stop. With the work of Lenin begins. Full stop. In the note only, with the work of Lenin begins the Marxist school of international political economy. with the works of Lenin, begins the Marxist school of international political economy. So this theory or this school of IPE, the roots of this school lies in the works of Lenin, okay, and driven by the ideas of Marx. Okay. Note is over. Now in continuation. So this school or this theory is emphasizing and focusing more on the issues of this theory, and this school is emphasizing more on the issues of inequality, disparities, okay, rising disparities, inequalities in the world. This is the focus of this particular school. Okay, na? That wealth needs to be, we need to work towards the equal distribution of wealth. We need to work towards the inclusive growth and towards sustainable development. Right? Marxist agrees. There is agreement. Marxist agrees with mercantilist. With mercantilist that economics and politics are closely interrelated. Politics and economics are closely interrelated. And both has rejected the liberal view that economy can operate on its own. Economy can operate on its own. I hope you remember what is the view of the mercantilist, that free economy in the world can only exist till the time we have a hegemon. Power. Okay. Yes. Without hegemonic power, there cannot be a liberal world economy. But liberals believe that no, we don't need that. States can understand the advantage of engagement and cooperation, and we can have free economy without any hegemon. Will the continuation of this debate under the theory of HST, hegemonic stability theory, not in syllabus but being asked. Right. That economy can operate on its own and under its own laws. That economy can operate on its own, under its own laws. Full stop. Next bullet point, while mercantilists see, economics as a economics as a tool of politics. So mercantilist has given more emphasis to politics over economy. Economics as a tool of politics. While Marxist has put economics first. Everything is economy. Economy constitute basic structure. While Marxist has put economics first and politics second. Read this paragraph. I hope this point is clear to all of you. Okay, na? On which point mercantilist and Marxist are coming closer. Okay? They are coming closer on which point? That economics and politics are interrelated. Okay, there is a interrelation. But on which point they have a difference of opinion? Economics first for Marxist, politics first for mercantilist. Next bullet point. Marxists have also accepted. Marxists have also accepted the zero-sum argument. Zero-sum argument of the mercantilist. The mercantilist. Though Marxists have applied this idea. So for mercantilist, zero-sum prevails between whom? Who will answer? For mercantilists, zero-sum game prevails between whom? States. For Marxists, zero-sum prevails between classes. Zero-sum is there. Both are believing zero-sum prevails. But for mercantilists, zero-sum is between states. For Marxists, it is between classes. ठीक है ना? देखो, though Marxists have applied this idea to the relation of classes, bourgeois class have similar interests, proletariat of any state will have similar interest. Though Marxists have applied this idea to the relation of classes instead of the relation of states. Clear हुई है बात? Instead of the relation of states. Zero sum means, अरे इतनी बात तो किया हमने. Zero sum means if A and B, there are two players and both parties believe others' gain is my loss, then what prevails between A and B is zero sum. Can we say there's a zero sum going on between India, China? Yes. There's a zero sum between US, China? Yes. Okay. So realist believes what prevails between the state is zero sum, where one party believes other gain is my loss. Okay. Right. The focus of the scholars of Marxist school. The focus of the scholars of Marxist school is to analyze. The impact of capitalism analyze the impact of capitalism on the relations among the states. Impact of capitalism on the relation among the states. Full stop. Marxist scholars have argued that capitalism is responsible for global inequality. Comma, poverty in the peripheral states. Poverty in the peripheral state and prosperity in the core states. अब देखो इसको लिंक करते हैं present, which is exactly in the news. Now, Nobel Prize is given in economics, and they said that we have analyzed the reason why few countries are rich while others are poor. What is the reason that there is wealth in few countries, others are doing better than the rest? What is the conclusion of the present scholars that what is the reason for their prosperity and wealth? Institution. They are not extractive. They are not coercive. So where there are institutions, where there is democracy, where there is a protection of right to property, those countries are doing better. But what Marxists are saying, what is the reason for the poverty of the few countries? For Marxists, what is the reason for the poverty of few countries? That capitalism serves the interest of selected few. Okay, so the present and the point of view taken by the scholars who have been given Nobel is totally different from the view of whom? Marxists. They will say, no, they are not poor because of the repressive institution, because capitalism is exploitative. It is not allowing the prosperity to trickle down. And this is what exactly has been analyzed by Emmanuel Wallerstein, that if the third world countries will integrate their economy with the core states, it will lead to their exploitation. Okay. Lico. And prosperity in the core countries. Next bullet point. They also suggest that interlinkages between the countries. Because of global capitalism. That capitalism has led to the concentration of wealth. Because of global capitalism has impacted the domestic politics. It has impacted the domestic politics. And there has been too much involvement of core states or core countries. Too much involvement of core countries or core states. Which countries can be considered as core states? We discussed earlier also. Which countries can come under this category? G7. That is G7. In the domestic politics of the peripheral countries, domestic politics, and there have been too much involvement of core countries, that is G7, in the domestic politics of the peripheral countries with the aim of setting up the puppet governments. Setting up the puppet government. So if the peripheral countries will integrate their economy with the core countries, it will lead to the manipulation of their politics and economics. When in 91, the Indian economy got hit by the crisis. That was the time we had to approach to IMF. So IMF decided to IMF gives loans without any condition, or IMF puts a lot of conditions. So IMF loans comes with conditionalities imposed. What conditions they put? Structural adjustment means to open your economy, means give access to your market. And this access will serve the interest of whom? Western capitalists. That is why for many, especially the Marxist scholar, institution like IMF, they are institution of neo-colonialism, neo-imperialism, because voting right in IMF is strongly controlled by US. Okay, so these institutions give loans by putting a lot of conditionalities. So for Marxists, how Marxists see these institutions of IMF and World Bank? Neo-imperial. How liberals see these institutions like IMF and World Bank? Institutions to create and strengthen liberal world order. Okay. I hope you remember. What are the two main dimensions of liberal order? Liberal world order. What are the two dimensions of liberal world order? Liberal political order, where political freedoms and liberties are being protected. Because in liberal discourse, we use word liberty and freedom interchangeably. Which institution created to strengthen this political order, liberal political order? UN. And liberal economic order means where economies are interrelated and prevails what? Free trade. So how we can have liberal economic order? Through globalization, by allowing free trade between the economies and the state. And institutions like IMF and World Bank created to strengthen liberal economic order. But Marxists do not see these institutions the way seen by liberals. Okay? So Marxist view is totally opposite to whom? Liberal. Likho. Next bullet point, these puppet regimes have adopted exploitative policies. Puppet regimes have adopted exploitative policies for their own people. For their own people. And thus Marxist scholars have suggested, underline kar lena ise, Marxist scholars have suggested autonomous national development. Autonomous national development. Okay, na? So that is what kind of policy India also decided after independence till 90s to pursue which kind of economic policy? Protectionist. Okay, that is to go for self-sufficiency. Okay, na? That's why you say our economy was inclined more towards socialism, and we liberalize our economy post 90s. Likho. So on this aspect, you can see mercantilists and Marxists are coming closer. Even mercantilists are saying that we should avoid economic dependence on others. State to strongly control economy. And Marxists and mercantilists are coming closer on this point of view because both demands that who should control economy? State. We should not increase our economic dependence. Who is recommending to increase economic interdependence? Liberal. So on this point, mercantilists and Marxists are coming closer. Okay. Where is the difference between the two? Mercantilists emphasize more on politics, Marxist on economic. Second, zero sum is between state. For Marxists, zero sum is between class. Very good. Next bullet point. And they have suggested autonomous national development and in condition, and Marxists have suggested that imperialism in traditional form has ended. Imperialism in traditional form has ended. However, imperialism in new form has evolved. That is neo-imperialism and neo-colonialism. So for Marxists, which are the institution of neo-imperialism? IMF. Who was the imperial country, biggest or the strongest imperial state? Britain. Who became the strongest neo-imperial state? US. Because voting rights in these institutions are being controlled by US. Okay, na? MNCs for Marxists are how Marxists will see MNCs, multinational companies, instrument of neo-colonialism. Economic exploitation, na? I hope you remember the difference between the two. When East India Company came and started economic exploitation, it is colonialism. Okay, so MNCs are seen as the new instrument of neo-colonialism. ठीक? एक बार पढ़ लो जो लिखा. A quick glance of what all you have read. Any doubt till this point? Let's go in continuation. Right, Marxist view further evolved. In continuation to this, Marxist view further evolved around 1970s by Marxist scholars of third world countries. Marxist scholar of third world countries. So this view further developed around the 70s. Next bullet point. Marxist scholar Emmanuel Wallerstein. Emmanuel Wallerstein. पढ़ा हुआ है पहले स्कॉलर के बारे में. कहाँ आया था एमिनल वॉलरस्टीन? Post-colonial theory of state, where we discuss two perspectives, that is modernization perspective and Marxist perspective, right? Modernization perspective given by concept of prismatic state. Riggs, F.W. Riggs. Marxist perspective, instrumentalist dependency and structuralist. Instrumentalist dependency by Wallerstein and structuralist by Hamza Alvi. ठीक है, मार्क्सिस्ट स्कॉलर रिवाइज शुरू कर लो, टेस्ट सीरीज स्टार्ट होने वाली है, ठीक है ना, नेक्स्ट मंथ योर टेस्ट सीरीज विल स्टार्ट, ठीक है ना, सो स्टार्ट रिवाइजिंग आल्सो. लिखो, Marxist scholar Emmanuel Wallerstein has given the world system theory. He has given the world system theory. In which he has analyzed the structure of international economy. Underline the word structure of international economy. ध्यान से सुनो and answer. Who has analyzed the structure of international politics? Neo-realist Walls and Mersheimer. So neo-realist has analyzed the structure of international politics. The structure of world politics is like this. That's why leaders do not have choice. And structure of world politics is anarchy. He is analyzing structure of international economy. ठीक है ना? Full stop. He has analyzed the working of. He has analyzed the working of capitalism at global level. Working of capitalism at global level. And his ideas are influenced by the ideas of Lenin. So traditional Marxist perspective further developed and evolved around 70s by Marxist scholars. Next word point, Wallerstein has provided the critique of globalization. He has provided the critique of globalization from Marxist point of view. Marxist point of view. And he has given the critique of modernization theory. Given the critique of modernization theory given by F.W. Riggs. तो हमने पढ़ा था पोस्ट colonial theory of state in post colonial countries is what is the nature of state or what state looks like in third world countries. Okay, so modernization perspective, Riggs said it is prismatic society. Okay. Given by F.W. Riggs, as Riggs suggested that the path for poverty alleviation for developing economies is the greater integration with the world economy. While for the instrumentalist scholar, Instrumentalist scholar. Remember Marxist theory of state? Two perspective, instrumentalist and what Marx said. Who has given instrumentalist perspective? That state is an instrument of exploitation. Marx himself. And the second perspective is structuralist or relative autonomy. This perspective is also given by Marx himself. And this perspective of Marx bring Marx closer to whom? Liberals. क्या था relative autonomy? That state is relatively autonomous. Okay. State is relatively autonomous. But at the time of crisis, state will serve the interest of capitalist, who further continued the debate on instrumentalist and structuralist perspective of Marx. Who did that? Rolf Miliband and Nikos Polonzas, instrumentalist and structuralist. ठीक है ना? लिखो. While for the instrumentalist scholar, that is Wallerstein. Closer. While according to the instrumentalist scholar Wallerstein, as closer close is the integration of developing economy. Close is the integration of developing economy with the international economy. How we can go for close integration of Indian economy with the international economy? By allowing FDIs. There's a difference between allowing privatization and allowing FDIs. Allowing privatization means allowing Indian private players to participate in that sector. Allowing FDI means what? Allowing international player. Like in aviation, allowing FDI means allowing international players to be a part of the airline sector within the Indian economy. Allowing privatization means Indian private players can participate in that particular sector. Okay. So if we allow 100% FDI in most of the sector means complete integration of Indian economy with the world economy. Okay, now. Close is the integration of the developing economy with the international economy. The poorer it will be. You believe in this? No, you are liberal then. Okay. If yes, then you are Marxist, socialist in your approach. Poorer it will be. Full stop. Next bullet point. For instrumentalist. For instrumentalist scholars, the reason for poverty in third world countries, that is African, Asian and Latin American countries, is the rising presence of MNCs, multinational corporations. Rising presence of MNCs in these countries. Full stop. Hence, instrumentalist or dependency school scholars do not increase your dependency. Go for indigenization. Okay. Hence, the instrumentalist or dependency school scholars have suggested the national autonomous development. National autonomous development. So on this point, Marxist and mercantilist are same. Both do not want to increase your economic dependency on others. Remember fascist economic policy? What is the name given to the economic policy of the fascist? फासिस्ट कौन सी इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसी रिकमेंड करते हैं?
ऑटार्की।
ऑटार्की, ठीक है ना, ऑटार्की लिखो। अकॉर्डिंग टू वॉलस्टीन, भाई दिस इज व्हाट आई से मल्टीपल टाइम, understanding is one aspect of your preparation, another major aspect is cramming, ठीक है? cramming requires what? Cramming requires what? Revision, intelligence, okay? Something, producing something new requires what? Creativity. You don't have to be creative, you have to be intelligent. Your creativity will come probably later, that how you're going to frame your answer. That might be a bit, you might be a bit creative, but that will only be possible if you have the complete syllabus in your mind. तो पहले रट्टा तो लगाओ, समझ लिया, अब रट्टा लगाओ, ठीक है? और नोट्स चाहिए? प्लेटो पे और पढ़ना आगे ना, मैंने कहा था द मोर विल स्टडी the more you will understand how irrelevant Plato is in our bigger scheme of things. So when we start from Plato, that makes Plato very important. But more and more, once you will start knowing more about your syllabus, and once you have so much of things to remember, then you will realize that you just need to remember Plato in few points. बस points में याद रखना है, ठीक है? वही challenging है. According to Wallerstein, to analyze the nature of world politics, to analyze the nature of world politics, we have to understand the structure and the processes of world system. Structure and the processes of world system. तो ये बात याद रखना. Other than Wallerstein, who else has tried to study the structure and the processes of world system? Neo-realism. ठीक है ना? Structure and the processes of world system, and according to Wallerstein, from 17th century onwards, what happened in 17th century? Industrial revolution. From 17th century onward, the nature of world system, very important line, the nature of world system is economic rather than political. Nature of world system is economic rather than political. So who control world politics? Who control world economics? ठीक है ना? So rising economic profile of China is the biggest challenge for US. ठीक है ना? Next bullet point. According to Wallerstein, the world system can be seen as core, periphery, and semi-periphery. This is how we can see world system: core, periphery, and semi-periphery. So which countries we can keep under the set of core countries? G7. Okay, there can be a big question mark. You consider China. What is the criteria? On what grounds we can say a state has developed a country? Per capita income can be one of the criteria. You want to take PCI as one of the criteria of a development, or you want to take HDI as the criteria of development? If you want to take HDI, then which countries will come under the category of most developed countries? Scandinavian states. So this also is subjective, and now US do not want to accept China as a developing one, and China still expects and demands the status of developing to keep seeking concessions from whom? G7, which G7 is not ready for. समझ आई बात? things are very subject. What do you think? India, in which category you will going to keep the population of India? Is India overpopulated or India is underpopulated? On what grounds you are saying? How you are so sure saying that India is overpopulated? Because the number, just sheer number reflects that we are overpopulated. Or based on the population density, you are saying we are overpopulated. What is the average population density of India? अरे आप तो याद करो ना, प्रिय आपका. What is the average population density in India? And which state has the highest population density? West Bengal or Kerala, I guess. And what is the average population density? अरे क्या है एवरेज पॉपुलेशन डेंसिटी हमारी इंडिया की? ज्योग्राफी नहीं किया अभी? ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी नहीं पढ़ा? नहीं. क्या पढ़ लिया है वो पूछता हूँ. हाँ, व्हाट इज एवरेज पॉपुलेशन डेंसिटी? चेक करना. 389 अराउंड समथिंग. The data which I am saying probably might have changed.
Sir, 488.
488 ना. I am telling you about 2011 data. ठीक है ना? 389, so it is 488. So based on population density, you're saying we are overpopulated. You know the population density of Singapore? It's above 2000. You know the population density of Japan? Above 1500 people per square kilometer. It is about 4 times higher than India. Do you consider Japan as overpopulated? Why not? How we can say India is overpopulated? Seeing the kind of competition we have in UPSC? Or you are seeing by seeing the trains which are going to Bihar, you are saying we are overpopulated? बिहार तरफ जाती हुई ट्रेन्स को देख के तो आपने परसेप्शन बनाया ना ओवरपॉपुलेटेड है इंडिया. ये भी तो हो सकता है ट्रेन्स कम चल रही हैं. वी आर नॉट एबल टू build capacity. That's why this population seems as overpopulated. नहीं? Don't you think we are optimally populated or underpopulated? There are geographers who believe India is underpopulated. We have not utilized our resources properly. How you come to conclusion we are overpopulated? We are not utilizing our resources properly. What are the criteria of overpopulation? कैसे कहेंगे हम overpopulated है? There is a geographer who has, आपको जानना नहीं है, आपकी theory नहीं है, Malthus. He said what the criteria, on what grounds we can say a state is overpopulated if there are riots. Do we have riots in India? Every now and then means we are overpopulated. A society where there will be epidemics. Epidemics keep ushering in India, it means we are overpopulated. There are a lot of disasters and hazards. It means we are overpopulated. ये criteria overpopulation के. Number and density is not the criteria. Similarly, there is a big subjectivity of the criteria of water development. But in general, we have accepted above average HDI, GDP, and PCI are taken as the criteria of development. Okay. So based on those criteria, we consider G7 as the grouping of most developed countries in the world. Okay. Another criteria of development is the structure of the economy. ये पता होनी चाहिए आपको बातें. When in an economy, service sector contributes maximum in GDP and the primary sector contributes minimum in GDP. This is the structure of which kind of economy? A developed economy. Who is the biggest contributor in our GDP? Which sector is the biggest contributor? Service sector. Around 60% of the contribution in GDP is of service sector. Okay. It is 16 to 18%. Primary sector is the contributor in GDP. Now, in which sector maximum number of people are employed? Primary. So this is the reason we can say the skewed growth where wealth is going in the hands of selected few. So this figure is the indicator of a developed economy. But we have reverse pyramid in case of employment, where majority is employed in primary sector and minority is employed in service sector. So we have skewed growth and we are not able to generate adequate employment. And this figure is a reflection of underdeveloped economy. So parallelly, you can see the features of both developed economy and underdeveloped economy in India. In India, you can see shining India, digital India, who has reached to the space age. While parallelly, we have other Indias also, and this becomes the biggest threat for the security of India, the regional disparities and inequalities. तो नहीं ठीक है लिखो कितनी जल्दी कंक्लूजन्स पे जंप कर लेते हो इंडिया ओवर पॉपुलेटेड जब मैं पूछ रहा हूं तो तभी सोच लो कि ये आंसर हो ही नहीं सकता इफ आई एम आस्किंग यू विद like this, there needs to be a specific reason I am asking this. Do you think India is overpopulated? Yes, and might be you would have written an essay on this earlier in your school days. जनसंख्या की समस्या, जनसंख्या समस्या है, okay, but parallelly we are not able to do what capacity building, and which liberals emphasize a lot on capacity building. Social liberal, ठीक है, लिखो. According to Wallerstein, the world system can be seen as क्या लिखा था? Core, periphery, and semi-periphery. And these are the units of world system. And these are the units of world system. That is core, periphery, and semi-periphery. Just make this figure with a heading units of world system, core, periphery, semi-periphery. Okay. And you can write G7 under core. And abhi ruk ja, usse rehne dena. And third world countries under periphery. And these are the units of world system. अभी हम जब करेंगे ना approaches traditional and modern under behavioral revolution, I said there are so many modern approaches under behavioral revolution. One of the approaches system approach. ध्यान सुनो जो बता रहा हूँ, समझ नहीं आएगी अभी ये बात. One of the approaches system approach given by David Easton. So he is behavioralist. He has given system approach. Who is using this system approach to build their theories in international affairs? Neorealist and Wallerstein. System approach given by Easton, used by Neorealist and Wallerstein. Neorealist has used system approach to analyze the structure of international politics. And Wallerstein has used system approach to analyze the structure of international economy. कुछ समझ आया तो बोला मैंने. हाँ वो सेमी पेरिफेरी में आएगा. अभी रुक जाना, वही तो डिबेट है. ठीक है ना. सिस्टम अप्रोच गिवन बाय ईस्टन. ही इज अ behavioralist. Okay. Endeavor to bring science in the subject of political science. ठीक है. लिखो. The units of world system आपने लिख लिया. Like the features of core countries. The features of core countries. What are the features? First, advanced. ऐसे लिखो पहले. First, high GDP. High GDP. High per capita income. High HDI. High HDI. Use advanced technology. Use advanced technology. Commercialized agriculture. Commercialized agriculture. Next, holds majority voting rights. Majority voting right in international economic institutions. And point एक ही point लिख लो. And they determine the rules of and they determine the rules of politics in the world. Rules of politics in the world. Take features. So totally reverse features will be of whom? Periphery. Look at features of periphery states. Low GDP, low PCI, low HDI, redundant technology, subsistence agriculture. रिवर्स कर दो बस. Subsistence agriculture and minimum voting rights in international institutions. अब आता है सेमी पेरिफेरी. So modernization perspective of BRICS suggests that third world countries should integrate their economy with the G7. It will be in the interest. So they will try to justify their perspective based on the emergence of semi-periphery. See, those economies who have integrated their economy with us, they have evolved and developed. Those who have not, they are still lying where? On the periphery. Okay. But Marxists will say, no, even it is not true. Which countries we can keep under the category of semi-periphery? BRICS. And now G20. Okay. So the grouping BRICS G20 can be categorized as semi-periphery. Likho. Right. The features of semi-peripheral states. The features of semi-peripheral states. Right. These countries emerged out of periphery. And they have developed some features of core countries. Features of core country. Okay. You can clearly see many countries of BRICS and G20 do share some of the features of periphery. Which sectors of ours look similar to the sectors of the core states? IT, other than IT, space. Okay. This reflects as if we have developed the features of core. Okay. The share in our GDP reflects we share the feature of core. Okay. Next bullet point. However, from Marxist perspective, the semi-peripheral states और सेमी पेरिफेरल इकोनॉमीज लिखो. स्टेट हम न्यू रियलिज्म के टर्म्स में लिखते हैं, ठीक है ना. द सेमी पेरिफेरल इकोनॉमीज एक्ट एज शॉक एब्जॉर्बर. for the capitalist core countries. For the capitalist core countries, as they are the source of cheap labor. किस तरह का IT वर्क वेस्ट इंडिया भेजता है? What kind of IT work they offshore? Huh? BPOs, KPOs. Okay. Other than that, what kind of work? Not too much of intellectual work. They are doing it on their own. Okay. The work which lacks intellectual capability, such work they are outsourcing. Okay. As the other source of cheap labor, comma, absorb outdated technology. Absorb outdated technology. And thus dilutes class struggle. Thus dilute class struggle. Next bullet point. According to Wallerstein, the nature of world system. Wallerstein, the nature of world system is capitalism. And the poverty in third world can end only. Poverty in third world can end only when there is destruction of capitalism. And the emergence of socialism. And the poverty in third world can end only if there is and only when there is destruction of capitalism and emergence of socialism. So is end of ideology thesis is right? Or can we say that history has ended with the end of ideology thesis? No. Okay. So still this ideological debate is going on. Okay. And we have seen the revival of this debate more strongly post 2008 financial crisis. Okay. Next point. According to Wallerstein, the world has only two options. World has only two options. Either socialism or barbarianism. Two options, either socialism or barbarianism. Next bullet point. Wallerstein believes that capitalism does not result. Capitalism does not result in equal exchange. Equal exchange. And unequal exchange has resulted in the prosperity of poor. Prosperity of poor and the poverty of periphery. And the dependency created out of these interlocking structures. Have created exploitative relationship. Exploitative relationship. Okay. Next bullet point. Thus, Marxist analysis of international politics. Thus, Marxist analysis of international politics So this is Marxist analysis of what? International political economy. This is the analysis of international political economy from the perspective of which Marxist? Traditional Marxist perspective, where Marx believed that economy is the basic structure and politics is just a part of superstructure and capitalism is exploitative. Okay. Thus, Marxist analysis of international politics is the criticism of globalization. Is the criticism of globalization. And the scholars of this school and the scholars of this school have opposed institutions like WTO and platforms like World Economic Forum. And they have supported the civil society protests and social movements against globalization. पढ़ लो एक बार.
Excuse me, sir.
बोलो जी.
So when semi-peripheral state act as absorbers, then how are they diluting the class struggle?
Think semi-peripheral
How is
act semi-peripheral act as they act as shock absorbers. So how they are diluting class struggle means rather than supporting the class struggle of the peripheral states, they are hand in hand with whom? The core. So core is dependent on what? Market. They are not giving access to markets. They are not giving access to their market. If they are not giving access to their market, these capitalists need some market. Otherwise, there will be economic hardships in their own country or not. So they are surviving because of the market access given by whom? The semi-periphery. And that if I ask this question, what do you think? Regional equality or inequality has increased in India since liberalization, globalization? Inequality has increased. So means the gulf between the rich and poor has widened. And this vindicates the view of whom? Marxists. Any other question? Clear? Your doubt is clear? How they're acting as shock absorber?
Yes, sir.
बोलो बोलो किससे क्लास स्ट्रगल बढ़ता है? हाँ, that's what they are saying, that this is the belief of the Marxists, but liberals do not believe in this. Modernization perspective is also there, and modernization perspectives, Riggs is saying what? Integration is in the interest of these countries. So if again another question, equality has increased or inequality? You said inequality, but employment opportunities has increased or unemployment has increased? Employment for skilled. Issue is we are not being, one thing is we need to control population. It's not like this, we are not being able to expand our employment. We are not able to generate employment within Indian economy. Post 90s, there were so many sectors which are giving huge employment. Earlier, there was no jobs in these sectors like medical tourism, like IT sector, BPOs and KPOs. Okay, we have been able to build service industry. So we have generated a lot of jobs or not, but if still there is high unemployment rate, it is because of the population and not being able to impart skill. So there are both perspectives. Yeah, there are both perspectives. Just make this table for your understanding. You don't have to cram it. You can make one table in that these 4 rows will remain same. Relationship between economics and politics, main actors, nature of economic and economic goals. Okay. Here, right, mercantilist perspective, liberal perspective, and Marxist perspective. Okay. It is a summary of our discussion, which will help you to remember things. पहले 4 rows बनाओ. First is relationship between economics and politics. Who are main actors? लिख लिया? 4 rows. Now, mercantilists believe out of these two, which is more decisive? Who dominates whom? Politics. Politics should dominate economics. Economy to be used to serve national interest. Who are main actors according to mercantilists? Zero sum prevails between whom? States. Nature is conflictual. Okay. Zero sum game is there. Means one party will believe my economic, others' economic gain is my loss. And what is economic goal? State power, right? This is the belief of mercantilist. So international political economy, 3 perspective. First is mercantilist perspective. Once you're done, let me know. What is the economic goal of? Economic goal their belief is economic goal is to serve the interest of the state, to enhance state power. Okay. Economic goal is not to ensure welfare of the people. Economic goal is not to ensure equitable distribution of goods. Economic goal is not welfare. Economic goal is power. Marxist will be, what should be economic goal? Ending inequalities, ending disparities, ensure welfare. समझ में आई बात? अब उसी के आगे लिखो liberal belief. What is the relationship? Economy autonomous. Who are main actors? Individual. Nature cooperative. Everyone will be beneficial. It will be beneficial for all the players if they will economically grow. And economic goal should be social and individual well-being. Marxist is saying there is no well-being of the individual, only well-being of capitalist. बहुत क्वेश्चन आते हैं स्कूल से, इंटरनेशनल पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमी से, है ना? समझ आ रहा है? Then third is, who is decisive? Economy is decisive. Who are the main actors? Class. Nature conflictual, but it is conflictual between classes, and economic goal is to serve the interest of class. This is Marxist perspective. Everyone's interest will be served. Who believe in positive sum game? Liberal. That if we increase or enhance our trade, if we increase or enhance trade with each other, it is in the interest of both. Even if we are running high trade deficit, there should not be any issue. Trade will never going to be used as an instrument of weapon. इसे हाँ नॉन जीरो सम भी कह सकते हो, एक ही बात है, वन एंड द सेम थिंग. Make another table, right? Like as such, mercantilist, Marxist, liberal, true claim, false claim. As you said, so is पर question mark भी तो है. Yes, there is a question mark. So what is their true claim and how far they are from their true claim, which is seen as false claim. Politics regulate economic activity. Politics cannot control fully economics. These things are not there in your book, Andrew Haywood. ठीक है ना, तो लिख लो इन्हें. कहीं सोच रहे बुक में है, बाद में कर लेंगे, बुक में नहीं है ये, पता है ना मुझे. I hope it is the belief of the liberal, their true claim and false claim. True claim is market has economic dynamics of its own, yes, but market is autonomous sphere of society. No, this is a bit exaggerated view. मार्केट इज एन ऑटोनोमस स्फीयर ऑफ सोसाइटी, ये नहीं। मार्केट इज एन ऑटोनोमस स्फीयर ऑफ सोसाइटी। हाँ, this is they believe they're, but it is their false claim. They believe politics is in full control of economics. It is false. No, it is not like this. हाँ, politics is in full control of, politics regulate create a framework for economy. Okay? False claim. एक second. Economic politics. False claim. It should be like politics determine economics.
कोजिट हो गया।
Economics is in full control of politics. हाँ, opposite होगा, सही कह रहे हो। एक सेकेंड। सही तो लिखा है, पॉलिटिक्स इज इन फुल कंट्रोल ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स मींस पॉलिटिक्स इज एबल टू कंट्रोल इकोनॉमी कंप्लीटली। Politics is in full control of economy means economy is fully being controlled by politics. It is not possible. English पढ़ो सही से क्या लिखा है। Politics is in full control of economics. अरे नहीं, politics is in full control of economics means politics is able to fully control economy. ऐसे लिखो, politics is able to fully control economy. It is false claim. नहीं समझ, क्या नहीं समझ आया? Politics can control economics fully. It is not possible. This is their false. This is what it is saying. Politics is in full control of economics, or politics is able to fully control economics is not possible. आप language दूसरी लिख लो. Politics can fully control economics is not possible. This is their false claim. ठीक है? हाँ, अच्छा.
Excuse me, sir.
हाँ जी.
Sir, can you explain the true and the false claim of liberalism? I didn't understand.
Market has an economic dynamic of its own. We cannot fully control market. Market has an economic dynamic of its own. This is right or not? बोलो.
Sorry, sir. मेरा नेट ही कट हो गया था. I couldn't hear you.
Okay. Market has an economic dynamics of its own. You cannot fully control the market. Belief of whom? Mercantilists, that you can fully control market. That is a false claim that you can fully control market. They say you cannot completely control market. Market has its own dynamics also. ठीक है ना? But market is an autonomous where everything can be decided by market. No, it is not possible.
Sir, economic dynamic is in sense of laissez-faire.
What? Economic dynamic?
Sir, the part about economic dynamic is the autonomy of the market in terms of laissez-faire. That is what it is.
Under which aspect you are saying?
So the true claim one under liberalism.
True claim. Market has an economic dynamic of its own. Yes, market is fully capable to make things work. The belief of neoliberals, market fundamentalists, market should be God. Everything to be decided by market. Okay? But market is so autonomous, is an autonomous sphere of society. No, there will be socio-cultural forces which will going to determine what? Market also. There will be socio-cultural forces which will going to influence and impact what? Market. Okay? Now, within Marxist perspective, after traditional is the Gramscian perspective or neo-Marxist perspective. Neo-Marxist or Gramscian perspective. Neo-Marxist or Gramscian perspective. Marxist economic goal is that the economic goal, अच्छा उसमें इसमें नहीं है, हाँ, the economic goal. What is the economic goal of G7 countries? To serve the interest of the class. This is what is the belief of the Marxist. What is the belief of the mercantilist? What is the economic goal? To strengthen the state power. Means mercantilists will believe US is pursuing economic policies to serve to what is the mercantilists will believe that US economic policies is to enhance and increase its power. Marxists believe that US economic policies is to serve the interest of the capitalist class of US. This is the economic goal. So every country which is pursuing an economic policy, it is to serve the interest of its class. Indian economic policies to serve the interest of the capitalist class, because who is those who are making the economic policy? They themselves comes from which class? Capitalist class, and they are being brought to power by whom? Capitalist class. ठीक है, अब समझ आ गई सारी बात. अभी और बेटर समझ आएगा आफ्टर द कंप्लीशन ऑफ a complete discussion on Marxist perspective. लिखो Gramscian perspective. लिखो the scholars of international politics. Scholars of international politics belonging to Gramscian tradition. Gramscian tradition suggested that the core countries. So what is the traditional Marxist perspective? Why core countries are dominant? What is the traditional Marxist perspective? Why core countries are dominant? Because they control economy, world economy, and world economy is directly under the control of the capitalist of core. Gramscian perspective will be that core countries, even though core countries are not controlling the economy the way it's been predicted by traditional Marxists, but core countries control what? Core countries have what? Ideological domination, that is hegemony. So they have ideological domination. That is why they are controlling everything, because of their ideological domination. देखो, that core countries take their dominant status. Core countries take their dominant status not simply because they control the economic structure. So Wallerstein has analyzed the economic structure because they control the economic structure, or they have the superior military power. So who will say core dominates because of superior military? Realists. Who will say core dominates because they control the world economic structure? Traditional Marxists. Who will say core dominates because of their ideological domination? Neo-Marxist Gramscian perspective. समझ बात? So US controls the world not only because of its economic dominance, but also because of its ideological domination. ठीक है ना? लिखो. Or they have superior military power, but because of their ability to establish hegemony. Ability to establish hegemony. Full stop. Thus, from the perspective of Robert Cox, so he's the scholar of Gramscian perspective. Thus, from the perspective of Robert Cox, the dominance of US in world politics, COX, Robert का तो पता ही है आपको, Robert Cox, the dominance of US in world politics. So for realists, what is the reason for US dominance? Military. ठीक है? For Marxists, what is the reason for US dominance? Economic control. For Gramscian, Robert Cox, what is the reason? Ideological domination. ठीक है ना? Hegemony. ठीक. लिखो. Thus, from the perspective of Robert Cox, the dominance of US in world politics is because of its ability to shape the world order. Ability to shape the world order. Oscar किस मूवी को मिलता है? Which is in aligned with the US perspective. Nobel किनको मिलता है? Those narrative is in alignment with the US perspective. समझ आ गया? दुनिया में awards कैसे बंटते हैं? ठीक है ना? So these beauty pageants are being given based on what? The interest of the capitalists, where they want to tap the fashion market. ठीक है? These view clearly undermines what? So-called talent. कुछ भी नहीं होता, किसी को भी market किसी को भी कुछ भी बना सकता है. ठीक है ना? Market has the potential to make anyone anything. ठीक है? Based on what? The interest of the market. लिखो. Is because of its ability to shape the world order based on its worldview. Based on its worldview. So the notions of beauty has been created by whom? Western capitalist. ठीक है ना? हर चीज Western capitalist ने notions create किए, narratives किए हैं, discourse create किया. The view of whom? Postmodernist Foucault. Everything is discourse and all knowledge is created with the objective to acquire. ठीक है? Based on its shape the world order based on its worldview, and also because of its ability. To displace the rival worldview. Displace rival worldview. And US has established liberalism as a common sense. Liberalism as a common sense. ठीक? Last perspective is critical perspective. Critical perspective. Critical school is also known as Frankfurt Critical School, and they stand for, the scholars of critical school, they stand for end alienation, है ना? Because they believe Marx's real objective was to end alienation, and they believe in philosopher Marx. ठीक है, लिखो critical perspective. Right, the scholars of critical school reflects the concern for emancipation. Underline the word emancipation. That ultimate objective should be human emancipation. Full stop. They want to change the existing nature of world politics. They want to change the existing nature of world politics. Full stop. The important scholar is emancipation. का मतलब क्या था? What is the meaning of emancipation? To make someone free. Emancipate. Make someone free. So they reflect the concern for what? Emancipation. And they want to change the existing nature of world politics. Full stop. The important scholar is Andrew Linklater. Marxist scholar, neo-Marxist scholar with the neo-Marxist with critical perspective. Andrew Linklater. And he has suggested to create a new world order. Suggested to create a new world order, which will be more conducive for peace. नया दुनिया create करते हैं, which will be conducive for peace. Next bullet point. He has suggested a cosmopolitan world order. A cosmopolitan world order. So this worldview of creating a cosmopolitan world order is in alignment with the Indian value system or not? That our worldview is cosmopolitan. World is one family. Vasudev Kutumbakam. ठीक है ना? तो हमारा तो ऑलरेडी व्यू किसके अलाइंड है? क्रिटिकल स्कूल के साथ अलाइंड है. लिखो. He has suggested a cosmopolitan worldview. That is, the need is to dilute territorial boundaries. सरहदें खत्म करो. ठीक है ना? The need is to dilute territorial boundaries. If we see from space, humanity seems as one. ठीक है ना? These territorial boundaries are created by whom? Humans. Just the ego boundaries to serve the interest of capitalist, Marxist. That nation is a false consciousness. है ही नहीं कुछ. Need, yes, that is, the need is to dilute territorial boundaries and to create moral boundaries. To create moral boundaries. ये याद रखो word. And to create moral boundaries. Means, moral boundaries means what? What is morality? The notion of right and wrong. One is political boundary, one is moral boundary. What do you think comprises moral boundary? Respect each other's means do not interfere in each other's personal space. This is the moral boundary or not? Do not come so close to someone while talking. This is it is written anywhere that you coming very close to someone while talking? Is someone can put a FIR against you that you come very close while talking? No, this is which kind of boundary? Respecting personal space, moral boundaries. But in Indian homes, can we demand this? No concept of what yet personal space. So this is what they are saying. Focus should be on what? Moral boundaries. If we'll respect each other, moral boundaries means respecting each other's culture, not interfering in each other's culture. Come prizes under what? Moral boundary. कहीं written नहीं है, but expected है. देखो, to create moral boundaries and to create civil societies network. Underline कर लो इन दोनों को. And to create civil society networks. Next bullet point, the new moral boundaries should be shaped. बहुत important line है ये. The new moral boundaries should be shaped by the concerns of human rights. By the concern of human rights, comma, empowerment of subaltern class. Subaltern class, comma, focus on multiculturalism. We have discussed multiculturalism and democracy, Focus on multiculturalism, comma, strengthening of grassroots democracy. So we need to create moral boundaries by showing concern for these things. What do you think? Moral boundaries are strengthening or diluting in the present world? Diluting, because already democracy is coming under threat and it is becoming fragile world over. ठीक है ना? Next bullet point, the scholars of critical school. बहुत सारे हैं, सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट नाम एंड्रू लिंकलेटर का है, ठीक है? The scholars of critical school has suggested that scholars of critical school has suggested that the concern of international politics should shift from state security to human security. Concern of international politics should shift from state to human. So security is a value or not? Whose security? State, human, or climate? This makes security a value. ठीक है ना? So realists, new realists are trying to give scientific theories for the issues which are value based, and new realists have emphasized on the security of whom? State. ठीक है? Clear हुआ critical view. Now so who all has tried to analyze the structure of world politics? They have tried to study the structure of world politics, neo-realist and traditional Marxist, Wallerstein. Wallerstein has tried to study the structure of international economy, and they have tried to study the structure of international politics. लिखो, ये एग्जाम में अभी तक नहीं आया क्वेश्चन, ठीक है? लिखो, similarities between the view of Wallerstein and Waltz. Wallerstein is Marxist scholar and Waltz is a neo-realist scholar. Both has tried to analyze the structure. Similarities between the view of Wallerstein and Waltz. We go bullet point. Wallerstein has given Wallerstein has given the world system analysis. So both has tried to study world as system, and system approach given by David Easton. Who is using the system approach of Easton? Both are used. Okay? Both are using the system approach, which is given by Easton, a behavioralist. Objective to bring science in the subject of political science. What is system approach? That we'll discuss later. And when we discuss system approach of Easton, you will be able to understand how they are using the system approach. Okay. Wallerstein has given the world system analysis of capitalism. World system analysis of capitalism, or the analysis of the structure of international economy. While Wald has analyzed the structure of international politics. So how is the structure of international politics according to Wald? Anarchy. How is the structure of international economy according to Wallerstein? How is the structure of international politics? Controlled or dominated by capitalism. Okay, na? Exploitative. Next bullet point. Both have focused on the system. Both have focused on the system rather than a single unit. On the system rather than a single unit. That is on countries. And according to both, what will happen to a country depends on the position within the system. If you revise what you'll come to know, he said that who manages the international system? Great powers. All do same functions, but differ in capabilities. Change of capabilities brought
Change in balance of power.
changing balance of power, but structure remains same. That is anarchy. Okay? So what will happen to a country depends on the position within the system. For Wallerstein, country lies at the core, periphery, or semi-periphery. Okay? Third, while Waltz has focused on the political and the military power, Wallerstein has focused on the economic capabilities. Next, Wallerstein has analyzed the historical development of capitalism. Wallerstein has analyzed the historical development of capitalism from 17th century onwards. While Wald has analyzed international politics in 20th century? In 20th century. While Wald has analyzed the international politics in 20th century. Okay. Though both has seen the system, world system. Both has seen the world system. Though both has seen the world system as a hierarchy. Seen the world system as a hierarchy where strong states are at the top. Strong states are at the top, while the weaker ones are at the bottom. Okay. So it is about Wallerstein and Wald. Both are using system approach given by David Easton. ये लिखना है तो लिख लो line. Make a note. Both Wald and Wallerstein has used the system approach given by David Easton. System approach built or developed by David Easton, used by them. Easton, E-A-S-T-O-N, David Easton. System approach is a modern or behavioral approach. Okay. So in future, another PhD scholar can give another theory in the subject of pol science using what? System approach. And if someone using system approach means trying to give a scientific theory. Okay. So he's saying world only has two options, either socialism or barbarianism. Okay, we need to destroy capitalism. And if we are not able to, why? Because semi-peripheral states act as shock absorber, which has diluted class struggle. But Gramscian perspective believe it is not because of the control of economy they are maintaining hegemony. They are maintaining hegemony because of ideological domination. Okay. So revise the whole school of IPE. Any doubt you can ask tomorrow. Okay. Next topic of our discussion is HST, Hegemonic Stability Theory. HST. आज करना है कल? क्यों? आज क्या हुआ है? Overwhelm हो गया Marxist theory. हाँ? ठीक है. Revise your Marxist theory, and might be many who will not be able to attend the class also. They have to watch the recorded. So I don't want to exceed the discussion beyond this. So just revise your Marxist theory of, or the school of IPE, International Political Economy. So IPE school, International Political Economy, is not only from the perspective of whom? Marx. It is from the perspective of three views: mercantilist, liberal, and Marxist. Okay, na? In your book, Andrew Haywood, and the another one that is Bailey and Smith. In both, a very narrow coverage of the theory of IPE is there. And if you read your theories from the book, you will not be able to understand anything. You can try that. Okay. It is very confusing studying this particular theory and school from your books. Okay. And both the books are covering only the Marxist perspective on international political economy, ignoring the mercantilist and the liberal perspective. So agar IPE aaya, last time I'm saying if you have to write something on IPE, do add few lines about the view of mercantilist and liberal before you elaborating on the Marxist view. Okay? We'll continue tomorrow. Same time, hybrid class. it will be hybrid class and the timing will be same from 1:15 to 3:20, 3:30. ठीक है ना? Any doubt, any confusion in this message, please let me know. रजनीश क्लास खत्म होते ही फिर से मैसेज डाल देता है, कहाँ कंफ्यूजन हो जाता है? Any doubt, any questions you can ask. जरूरत नहीं है IR. If you have PSIR as your option, there is no need for GS IR because in detail we'll cover international dynamics in the optional itself. ठीक है? गवर्नेंस हो जाएगा, IR हो जाएगा, इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी क्लासेस लगा लेना, लास्ट में होगा वो आप कर लेना, है ना?